Hello, Go Moders, and welcome back to the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021 in a matchup between Vextopher and Nashsauter in Open Sword Assured. I am one of your commentary teams in WorldwideWimpy. I'm joined by Norskmatty. How you doing today, Matty?
Doing good, thank you, WorldwideWimpy. Should be a good one. A couple of good runners, improved a lot in the last few weeks. Looking forward to it.
Now, with this being a mentor tournament, our runners have someone in their ear telling them or suggesting things that they can be doing throughout routing this randomized seed. Espeon is over on Vextopher's side, Megawott is over on Nashsauter's side. Kind of give us an idea of what we could be looking forward to in this type of setting when it comes to Sword Assured and Open, Norse.
Well, it's with the Sword Assured, the Uncle to Escape start is a lot more viable, since you can go and do Uncle and then just go sweep through at least the front of Escape. So beyond that, you could do a more kind of standard Sank or even Link's House start if you prefer, and then go through the south into CAC. Probably, I think we'll be unlikely to see that.
Now, with this being week 5, we're kind of doing these races to see where we're going to be placing our runners for seeding. Now, when we do hit the seeded stages, there's going to be no more mentors. There's going to be no more sword. You're going to be left with a regular open seed to kind of make your first initial judgment of what you want to do and routing choices. I always prefer doing open seeds because of that choice. You go, the first real decision you make is right when you start.
Yeah, it'll by the time we get started in the brackets, you'll be dropped by both your mentor and your sword. You'll be all on your own.
All right, as we got our countdown going on, we're going to be starting this race in a couple seconds here. Let's see where our runners go. All right, Vextopher's off, and so is Nash. We're getting opposite starts. Good, I like seeing that. As we find a bottle and a glove in our starting locations. One in Sink, the other in the Uncle House.
Yeah, that glove will be nice. As soon as Vexter finds a bomb, he'll be able to go back there and drop right into the back of Escape.
As we see Nash pick up a sign, he's going to chuck it at a guard, pull a tree, and maybe get some roops. Maybe a bomb, perhaps some fairies, single rupees, and just little pots of magic today.
Not terrible, he doesn't have any, but not terribly useful immediately.
Vex was lifting up some stones by the fortune teller's house. Those are 50-50 bomb drops, as he was able to find one bomb underneath the rock. As we get Hammer off of our uncle. Stop. It's Hammer time.
And we are very close to the Dark World access already. Just need that Moon Pearl and for our runners to find the other items that the others got.
3 bombs inside the chest in the well. I'm sure we're going to see Nash head through the escape sequence here really quickly with that hammer in hand. As we get a drop into the Thieves' Den, we find 10 arrows inside of this home for those dastardly naysayers who work with blind. I don't know.
They didn't do a great job of stealing, I don't think.
Yeah, only got some quiver shots out of it. As we're heading into Kakariko on our left, and the back of Escape on our right, as we kind of do some screen transitions. Remember to follow these runners. Hit the !R command inside of Twitch chat, and you'll find links to their Twitch pages, along with their mentors. You can do the same thing for your commentating team as well. !C to go ahead and find those Twitch links for your commentating team and tracker. So we find $50 inside of the, I think that's the map chest inside of Escape, as we get a look inside a Blind's house.
Vextopher will be hoping to, there you get some bombs again. I was just going to say, I was hoping to get some more bombs for the rest of CAC, and he did.
And we got a blue sword in Blind's house as well, so going to be picking up some roops here with some more bombs as well. Going to be a little short of that money for the bottle vendor, but that's just a dip right back inside the well if you happen not to find any rupees or a nice little pocket change inside of the well. as Nash heads into the basement of the dungeon. Normally you'd find a princess in here, but today we're only going to find a ball and chain. As we find Lamp, that's Master Sword and Lamp inside of Kakariko. So could this be an Aga 1 seed? We've already found our hammer and glove. It'd be really interesting to see where our mentors send our runners here. Anything that they might do before Aga 1 should be required. So we find a bottle inside the well.
Yeah, that's nice. You can just you find a bottle right in CAC. You can just stop off at Sick Kid in your sweep here.
As Vextopher elects not to go ahead and drop into the well to get the 10 extra rupees for enough for the bottle vendors. We're going to see what's on Lake Hylian Island. Just a piece of heart. As we're going to see Nash pick up some bombs here from the vendor by the lake. Vextopher being very fortunate finding a $20 nice little cash from the Cocoa House and gets a partial refund from our bottle vendor. As it looks like we're going to be going into Sasra and his fabled closet of 3 chests that could be absolutely nothing. Our sick kid had some protective armor. Handed that over to Mega Man over there as we see Vextopher using the X Sprite. We've got a nice vanilla Sprite for Nash as he heads into the back of Sasra's closet. As we find bombos, a fire rod, and some more bombs. This seed's being super generous.
And we also learned from Saha that the green pendant is Turtle Rock today.
A vanilla book in the library. If you want to get some literacy, we just need to find the books, and then you just run headlong into the bookshelf, and you're able to read from there.
It'll be interesting to see if they do find the boots, when or if they do come back for that book.
We did not get a lumberjack check over on Vextor's side. Reasonable play to make. If you happen to have to check it, you're going to need books, your boots, and your blue sword anyway, as we find a tempered sword on our race game. Kakariko paying out with 2 sharp objects, gloves, and a lamp.
Yeah, with the blue mail as well, already in very good shape for dealing with any threats during this seed.
As Vextopher is going to head to the back of Escape, makes sense. You've got the lamp, you've got the glove, you've got some bombs. Might as well go from the back from here. As we find 50 bucks inside of the dam and outside of it as well. Inside the dam it was nothing. So I think it was a 3 bomb pack. So we'll see what's on the back of Escape here. Ooh, our mice are explosive. Dropping bombs. Good heart. More bombs. And 10 arrows in the back of Escape. Nosh use bombos to kill out all of these mini Moldorms. Fire Rod would have worked as well. Sword spins. Any way that you could really take them down is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that works. It got them all in one go. Not much value inside, though.
As expected, just being able to see both of these runners run. The seed. When you find glove, hammer, fire rod, bombos, couple of swords, couple of bottles before you even hit South Shore, probably means mini Moldorm Cave is going to be not anything of use.
Yeah, and as was pointed out in chat, this is after 6.5 minutes. They finally have a check that both of them have made here in the dam.
I would figure it's not too long before we see Vextopher head toward Escape. That tempered sword makes it super easy. You know there's really not much in there that might deter you from going and checking it because you found 3 items in the back. So we just find some cash in Ice Ride Cave. I would expect Nash is going to be heading toward Kakariko here. As we see Vextopher pick up some bombs, chuck them at the mini Moldorms. That was very well executed. Fortunately, not going to be finding much of anything off of those exploding blueberries from the mold worms dying and opening up that door to this little den of bombs and roops.
No, he did get his bombs back, though.
So we're going over a lot of checks that have already been made by our 2 runners. It's expected it's early. The seed actually place items in pretty spread out, but pretty densely. So it's really nice to kind of find all those things together once you finally do go over in the directions you need to go into. As Nash is going to pick up his Master Sword here. He's going to find Tempered as well inside of Blind's house in the basement. So he's going to be very happy to have an orange sword. This is actually pretty good for Nash because he's going to get that glove right out of sync, and he's going to be able to do the back of escape all in one go. We know there's nothing in the back of escape, but it's nice to be able just to clear it out with just one save and quit.
Yeah, and I believe that he did not get a key in the front, and Vextopher did not get a key in the back, so that means Dark Cross is the key, so you won't have to visit it.
The old vanilla key. This looks like Vextopher is going to be heading up the mountain. This is an interesting play. No mirror, no hook shot. It's only 2 checks, but it does unlock yourself a save and quit spot. He's going to loop in a lumberjack check as well. It makes sense. You've got your tempered sword, you've got lamp. If this is something important like moon hurl, you go ahead and loop that all in together with escape. So we might be seeing that relatively soon. That's a medallion. That's a quick medallion on lumberjack.
Well, to be determined if we need that.
Yeah, we've only got one more pendant out there. We know TR is a green pendant, but you never know. You're really hoping Myers could be the other pendant at this point.
Yeah, although that would not necessarily mean that they are not required at some point. Maybe not to finish, but there could be an item we need in there.
As we're seeing Nash head through their Kakariko village, going through what Vex opened up with. We pick up Gary Oldman. He kind of looks like Wilford Brimley. He doesn't walk too well nowadays. He gets lost in the dark. We got to take him home because we are the good Samaritans of being good old rock man.
Let's see what we get for escorting him home. Just some arrows.
I believe those are antique arrows, since you are getting them from the poor lost old man on the mountain.
Looks like Vex is just gonna go see what's up here. You can get the item inside the cave. Probably hoping it's the moon pearl at this point.
Or mirror. If you get the mirror, unfortunately it doesn't have the hammer, so. Yep, nothing up the mountain. Now what's interesting is he didn't leave and go use the portal to give himself a Dark World map check. That would have been an easy thing to kind of do to give yourself some information. But a save and quit here isn't that big of a deal. We're going to be heading into escape now anyway for Vextopher. So we're going to have to head into the Dark World eventually anyway, so no need to use that portal right out of the gate if you don't want to. Alright, so we're down to Eastern, we're down to Agina, and we're down to Zora for our progression. If you were running this seed, what would you want to do, Maddie?
I think I'd want to do Eastern. You're gonna get at least 2 items even without the bow. And it always feels bad to do Aga when you don't have that moon pearl. That moon pearl is not there on the pyramid ledge, unless it's something else that leads to something. Then you feel kind of bad about it.
My favorite moon pearl spot, and people are going to hate me for this. I love moon pearl on Checkpoint Cave.
Well, that is if we find a mirror, that would put that into the possibility.
Yeah, Mirror Titans, and oh, okay, I guess that's now possible. Great, thanks, Seed. As we're getting some more repeat checks from our runners, just want to remind you again that you can follow these runners by hitting the !R command inside a Twitch chat. You'll get links to the runners and the mentors' Twitch pages. You can do the same for your commentating and tracking teams by hitting !C. We all run Rando. We all like to torture ourselves with this fabulously beautiful, hard, difficult, brain-teasing type of stuff. So, let's see if Vextopher figures out this is an item or a small key. Alright, he's going back in there. He's like, I haven't gotten my small key, so I'm gonna go check this first.
There's Nash getting the news that the Quake Medallion is up there on Lumberjack.
Alright, Vex has got a choice. He's got Zora, Agina, or going over into Eastern. He has yet to check Sasra, so that is his density area at the moment. Having that lamp makes Eastern a little bit more valuable for you to want to do because it does put the big key chest in logic. A lot of the times I'll skip Eastern without the lamp because at that point, okay, I'll have a max of 2 items possibly in logic. So, that's 2 items. I'd rather go somewhere that I can actually do and is in logic for me to do. So,
yeah, neither runner has enough rupees to actually pay off a visit to Zora. So if they were to do that, they would need to get some, probably with a Houlihan room.
Yeah, Vex is right there with the Houlihan room. With cash, Nash is going to be a little short of rupes currently. Even with the Houlihan, he'll be about 30 short. And Vex is just going to go ahead and do the Eastern play. You're 1 item away from Dark World access right now in Moon Pearl. It's very likely going to be somewhere in front of you, not through Aga 1. And we'll have the best Dark World access with Glove and Hammer, so as soon as we find that Moon Pearl, Aga 1 is dead in Light World. If we don't find it in Light World, we basically know we got to do Aga 1.
Yeah, and with Eastern being a pendant, doing this now and knowing that you won't be able to complete it may not hurt as much. You may never need to go visit the Armos Knights at the end.
Yeah, you're really hoping for a lucky Eastern. You get all 3 items in the front, and then not have to worry about anything else. Well, there's a compass. As both of our runners are now in Eastern, Nash is essentially the cannonball room behind. As Vex hits the switches to open up some doors to get the vanilla map chest. You're going to be killing some Staphos to get the compass chest. Going through the dark room to get the big key chest. And possibly get the chest stuff. Oh, there's the Moon Pearl. There it is. No Aga 1 today. Unless we need that Quake.
Yep, still might need that Quake, but we're probably not going to see it immediately. Looks like Vex is going to finish out the checks he can do. Oh, maybe not. I think I spoke too soon.
Yep, the mentor got to him. Hey, dude, you've got Dark World access. You've got a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Just leave. If we gotta come back, we'll come back. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
We're probably gonna need the flute. We're probably gonna need the mirror. Let's just go. So we're going to get our first Dark World portal here on Vextopher's side. I'm sure we're going to get a map check immediately, knowing whether or not we have to do Mire is important. Do we go do Pod first, possibly, without a bow? Here we go. Alright, Pendant, Thieves Town, crystals everywhere else. I didn't see the red crystals, unfortunately.
I believe that they were ice and pod.
Alright, so Not too hard of red crystals to get as we see Nash head through the rest of Eastern Palace here. Very safe play, and you happen to find something like Red Cane or Titan's Mints, that makes your routing significantly easier to do. Mirror would be the worst thing to find in Eastern for Vextopher, because that's a long way off from coming to go back into Eastern, especially if you want to try and loop that in with Pod.
Yeah, I can't see Vextopher coming back to Eastern for a while unless he starts running out of things to do.
You still gotta get the big key from its vanilla location, as Hype Cave was a big old not hype. Whole bunch of cash. As we cross this small bridge above the cannonballs, we're gonna possibly do a damage boost to get the big key and kind of walk down, walk over, hit these little worm things, walk into the anti-fairies, pick up the pot, hit the switch. As there's that mirror on Stumpy.
Very nice find there.
Yep,
Could go and just do K45 right there.
Yeah, there's really no better place to kind of find that mirror. Maybe up the mountain to kind of loop that all in together, but here's K45, and there's Titans.
And now he can just walk into Village Outcast from the south. This is working out very well for him.
We'll get Dig Game. Usually when I have Titan's Mints and Mirror here, you might as well just turn in the Smith, do Hammer Pegs, and then do your Village of Outcast stuff, and just say, I am orphaning off that lunchbox just for now.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be walking right by the Smith. You might as well pick him up.
As we are digging more. Lots of digs, digging through this field of grass, looking for something. Groups are okay, magic's okay. Please, give me those flippers. I want them very badly. Thank you very much. We've got some web toes.
All right, well, that is 3 consecutive unique items down here in the South Dark World for Vextopher.
Dark World loaded today. Titans, Mirror, and Flippers, all necessary items for us today. As we pick up Jeremiah, he's a bullfrog. Once we hit the light world, he'll be a good friend of ours. Here we're going to see Hammer Pegs first. Yep.
Not as fun without the boots, but not worth waiting to see if you get the boots to do.
Especially when you're dropping off the Smith. It's right here. It's free. Just hammer down these purple pegs. I don't know what the pegs' purposes are. I don't know if they have tornado problems or if it snows in Hyrule and these are to prevent high drifts. I don't know. I don't get it. As Smash picks up his mirror, he's going to be picking up his Titan's Mitts and his Flippers very, very soon. Right on the tail of Vextopher. Really, the only difference right now between these two runners is Nash doing Sasra's Closet without dipping into Eastern. It's really the difference right now.
That and finishing the checks you could do in Eastern while Vextopher noped out.
As we're going to leave that lunchbox for later. We'll come back with the flute. We know we need the flute, so unless flute is on that lunchbox, we'll be picking him up as probably a last location. So we enter the brewery here in the Village of Outcasts. I always like to think they brew mead. What do you think they make in this little brewery here? Is it wine? Is it ale?
I mean, it doesn't look like they have a ton of equipment down there. I guess it could be mead.
As we get our lots of digs and diggy game for some flippers. As we find a freebie inside of the...
Plenty of bottles in this seed. Vextopher heading into Thieves Town. the map and the big key so far.
All right, as we're watching our runners continue to go here. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I had to reload everything.
No problem.
Alright, there we go. Now I can see. As we are in Thieves Town, we find ourselves half magic in the big key chest.
It's the only item we found so far. We also found the big key and the small key.
Ooh, Vextopher opting out of Thieves Town with only finding one item in the front. It's a regular pendant, so really not much in the way of an incentive to go ahead and do it. We've got Skullwoods that we can clear out as we find a blue boomerang in the C-shaped house. Let's see if Nash goes ahead and clears out Thieves Town. They were a little bit conservative in going through the rest of Eastern. Again, not a bad play to make. You're there anyway. You pick yourself up the big key and say, well, if I have to come back and kill Armos, I'll at least just have to walk to the back. As Vex is just opting to go right to the back of Skullwoods. That's the right play to make. You've got your Fire Rod, you've got Half Magic, you've got Tempered Sword. It's likely that Mothula is going to have an item for you. It's 40% chance that he's got one. You can have Map, Compass, Big Key, or one of the two items inside of Skullwoods. You cannot have a small key. Logically, you do need all three small keys to gain access to the Moth. The randomizer is set up to where if you make a mistake with the keys, you're not going to be punished with it. So you won't be able to lock yourself out specifically as long as you have everything that you need to clear the dungeon out in your inventory.
Dexter grabbing that key there, and then I'm gonna head back. Might stop off, get the bridge chest first on his way. With the mirror, it's pretty easy.
Yep, makes perfect sense. You already found one small key in the middle, so this makes this chest here on the bridge a little bit more likely to have something that isn't small key. As we see, oh, yep, there's one item, 20 bucks.
All right, so if Moth has an item, then you can skip the whole rest of the dungeon. Just leave.
Yep, as we see Nash head through the rest of Thieves Town, picks up that small key, going to be getting their half magic here in the vanilla big key chest. Let's see if they stay or if they go. They are leaving. Makes perfect sense. You've got a clearable crystal dungeon ahead of you. So you might as well just go ahead and do everything else first before you say, do Thieves Town, I guess. As Vextopher picks up the key from the Gibdo there. Now, when you have two keys, you really don't need to pick it up, but it is nice to have that small key. If you have to enter it to the front, you can just go left first versus going right, finding it's nothing anyway.
Yeah, it's a nice little piece of business to pick up that key and have that key ready if you need to go into the front.
As we find our Moth here. Now, Mothula, he is probably the toughest boss in the game. Only because you've got the moving platform, you've got the spikes, you've got Mothula shooting out psychic waves at you. He doesn't get any damage while he's over the spikes, and he's moving back and forth. He likes to hang up at the top. Just a big old pain in the butt. But Vextopher took him out with relative ease, with his reward being a piece of cartography. And he's saving and quitting. Okay. You're leaving an item in Skullwoods? Alright, he's gonna commit to Hera, I guess. Do the mountain checks. Makes sense.
Nash is going through the front here of Skullwoods.
Okay, so you got the big key on the right-hand side. Compass is in the big chest. So there is an item in the front, locked behind a small key somewhere here in the front. Since we already did find one of them in between. So he'll find two small keys in an item. through this bumper room and then up through the disappearing floor room. Then we'll just have to find a small key and get out. It's just a single route. Okay, so Skullwoods, nothing.
Yeah, so skip for Vextopher is going to work out as long as he doesn't return to Skullwoods.
All right, we have Tower of Hera. Unfortunately, no hookshot unless we happen to find it in this next chest up above, which is the map chest. We're going to have to do this vanilla style with the big key. Just a compass.
Yep, so traditional Hera climb here.
Alright, with that temper sword, these beetles are nice and easy to kill. Using 2 swipes and pot strats there. I like the swing right. It pushes you back toward the wall. You swing left, and then you swing down, and they're dead ultra quick.
Yeah, that's a nice little technique.
You find 20 bucks inside of the... Do we have a name for this chest? Do we just call it the Hentile chest? Because that's what it is.
You know, I can't remember if that has like the map or the compass in it.
If it would be compass, I think.
Yeah, it's compass chest as our tracker WGarrison there. Thank you.
Because map is in the chest that's in the first floor of Hera. See, I like all the little unique names for chests. Like, just calling it compass chest is boring.
That's fair.
As we get a Moldorm fight, this is going to be nice and easy. One swipe, one spin, one spin, one swipe, and he's down. Goodbye, Moldorm. Nice to know you. Hope we only see you at the end of the game, as there's an item in the basement of Hera with that small key on Moldorm. But we do get our second crystal of the seed over on Vextopher's side.
So he probably has a whole mountain ahead of him to clear out. I am not surprised to see him skip the basement chest here, considering the other things that he has left behind.
Now, if I was mentoring one of these runners, and I would be looking at what we've got Titans, we've got Flippers, we've got Hammer, I would be asking them, hey, how comfy are you with an IPBJ? Because we can find a whole bunch of stuff inside of Ice Palace, potentially.
Yeah. Very, very clearable, as is Swamp Palace.
Yeah, the only thing really locking you there is there's no hook shot. But
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
I like dipping Ice Palace when you have Titans, Flips, Mirror, Fire Rod. You can do the IPBJ, get yourself at least 2 or 3 checks. If you get a small key in one of the first 3 checks, you just go and do everything else in the dungeon then, at that point. Because it's possible that Hookshot is locked in Ice Palace, depending upon the logic. So it's one of those things where Ice Palace, especially in version 31, has had a lot of progression hidden inside of it. I've had Hammer and IT, I've had Hammer and Mirror back-to-back, and Freezor and Big Chest. So it likes being evil. And this seed has been quite generous so far, so I'm always thinking, how evil can you be?
Yeah, it's been pretty nice so far, I think, but, we'll see.
As we found powder inside of the middle of Paradox Cave, a shovel, 50 bucks, a heart piece, and more cash, as there was nothing in Spiral Cave as well. So just powder and shovel so far in Light Death Mountain. It looks as though Vextopher is going to head into the dark part of the mountain from Super Bunny.
And Nash following behind, gonna enter Tower Hera after completing Skullwoods of his own.
Yeah, I would imagine Nash is probably going to be skipping the basement item as well. Vextopher did, going, there's more density. If we got to come back here, it's really not that big of a deal. It is slightly easier to do the Basement of Hera with the mirror and your Fire Rod right now, but you're trying to win this race. You really want to win, and cutting corners like that is probably the best gamble you can do. As we see Nash use that swipe right, swipe left, and then swipe down. There go all the beetles. As Vex, currently, he got red potion, right? There's a red potion because there's nothing up Dark Mountain else that he can do in logic. Even if he had a health potion, Spike Cave isn't in logic at the moment. You need some sort of invincibility for it to be quote-unquote logic. So you find Ether Medallion is our Turtle Rock Medallion. So hopefully we'll never see the Lightning Coin. And Vex pieces out. Makes sense.
And that means that only now Misery Mire could be the Quake that we would need to do Aga for.
As it looks like Vex is going to be doing their flippers checks. Going to head over to our hobo who lives underneath the bridge. Sees what's on Hylian Island, just a piece of art. We do have Zora area to check. We've got the Fairy Fountain, Zora itself, and the ledge. Since neither of our runners had Moon Pearl going through Ice Rod Cave. So, flippers checks is good. Kind of a little bit out of the way without the flute, but it's a nice easy density you can knock right out. So this is always my debate with routing here. You took the long way to get to Hobo, but it's faster to save and quit, at least from what I've observed, to go back to your house and then swim back down Hylian Island. It's one more screen transition, but you do move faster walking than you do swimming. So...
yeah, well, Vextopher just taking the swim. This is one of those things, too, you can do with the mirror. You can kind of do, get the catfish check and then come up here. Vextopher choosing not to do that this time.
There's your red cane. I think we're heading into Ice Palace next. You've got Hammer, you've got red cane. There's no need to have any sort of hook shot to clear out Ice Palace from here.
And a bunch of free blue potions from the fairy here as well.
Save yourself a little bit of cash. Get all your blue goop. Say, if I need some health or magic, here we go. Just down this down. Right down the gullet. Give yourself a full belly of blue. Just a full heart container on Zora Ledge. We're gonna go over to a Scamfish, see what he's got for us. As Nash is just picking up their powder. Soon to have their shovel from Paradox Cave. But yeah, I would imagine our next stop is gonna be Ice Palace. So we get to see one of our, well, I don't want to say it's newer. It's been approved for the last year and a half, but we get to see a not diver down, our icebreaker with our red cane in Ice Palace. This glitch is going to save us minutes. Minutes is the best way to describe it. So it's not a 15, 10, 5-second cut. No, we are literally cutting out 8 or 9 rooms in Ice Palace. We're not going back and forth. We're able just to kind of linearly just cheese it right through what is the worst dungeon in the game.
It is, yeah, one of the most time-saving tricks available to any runner now.
As we get through that berry room, We're gonna hit the switch, see what's in our Penguinator room. Penguinator room has been paying out recently too in the randomizer. It likes having medallions, it likes having hook shot. We have our red cane, but red cane likes being here too. We just get 10 bombs.
It's a nice clear of that room by Vextopher. With the temper sword spins, they go down in one hit.
So yes, chat bringing up that if you have a whole route of walking versus swimming, you'd rather swim. But from where Hobo is, how that route goes with the screen transition, I find it to be a little bit faster to save and quit and come from my house. It's very possible I'm wrong on that. So I just think of how the swim route is to where it's 3 steps to leave your house, then you mash a certain way to get through the screen transitions.
And it looks like we are going to get to see the Ice Pal's bomb jump because Nash is skipping out on waterfall and Zora checks before and going straight into ice. So he is not going to have his red cane.
There's the bow inside of the hookshot chest here in Ice Palace. Yeah, Nash is going to lose a little bit of time here, not going to our fairy fountain in Zora area first, as we're trying to get some hammer strats here to slow us down and get us down these stairs. These stairs are not fun to try and get through.
It's definitely the worst staircase in the game.
There's some bombs. We're gonna get Vextopher through. We don't have a small key, so yeah, we were technically hookshot locked here in Ice Palace if we didn't get the big key on Vextopher's side. We get fire rod shots, we get some tempered sword swings on, hold stare, and he's right down. That fire rod just melts that frozen eye boy like it's nothing as we find a map. Yeah,
Looks like I think the bow was the big prize out of Ice Palace.
Yeah, it looks as though Vextopher picked up all the items in Ice Palace. They must have been all locked on the right-hand side. We found the bow, bombs in the Pengator room. So, makes perfect sense to go ahead and... Okay, I got my 3 items. I'm out. Let's go kill our boss. We'll be heading right to Palace of Darkness.
Nash pulls off the Ice Palace bomb trap first try. Still a really good trick to know, even with the existence of Icebreaker, because sometimes you might have to come in here without that cane, and you will need to do it.
Yeah, Vortex, looking at this now, because I missed the 3rd item, I saw the bow, I didn't see the I saw the bow and bombs, I didn't see the 3rd item. That means there has to be a small key, either in the big chest or in freezer room, for you to come back up and around. Since we did get the map on Cold Stare. And we didn't have an extra key, so that means Iced Tea is the small key, and one of these 2 chests is going to be a small key. And as we're heading into pod over on Vextopher's side, we're going to get a bomb jump here over on Nash's side. Not quite sure what this bomb jump is going to do for him, except for push him over to the hookshot lock side. He might be trying to do another bomb jump once he gets into that berry room to go across the gap, which is pretty easy to get down if you've got enough practice with it, but it can be a little bit finicky since those red berries are jerks. Alright, he's going to be setting up for this bomb jump. Does a little spin to put himself right on the edge of the tile. Pushes himself over. Oh, just short.
Alright, he
You
made
got it. Nice. Now that is a lot harder than it looks, but a lot easier once you kind of get down your spin to place yourself on the tile. As Vex is looking, do I have any health potions? Do I have, oh, he made it. He does have powder. There is an anti-fairy coming up here that he can go ahead and get a refill on. Hopefully he realizes that, so. Okay. Awesome. As we're getting through this first mimic room here in Pod, it looks as though Vextopher elected to go ahead and do this all first. He got a small key in the first check of Pod, so he could have gone up the middle, dropped the bomb, came back around. Either way, this is fine. You've got the mirror, you've got hammer. You can hammer down, you know, switch it over, use the mirror, switch it over. And another piece of heart. He's going to take the mirror. As Nash is heading back over into this hookshot chest, he's going to find his bow and be like, yay! No! As Vex heads into the fall room, he's going to be checking the vanilla big key chest first. He had the extra key to spare. And we find ourselves a small key.
Yeah, Pod Key Logic says that there has to be at least four small keys, maybe more, in the front 6 chests. But he had only found one, so one non-small key item, so he didn't know if that big key was going to be a small key or item, so he just went and checked it.
Yeah, a little safe, but hey, you never know. So we're going to be heading to the back as we get a cold stare fight over on Nash's side. He's going to use his bombos as well. It's either 8 fire rod shots or 1 bombos medallion play. With half magic, I like using the fire rod because then you can set yourself up a little bit easier on cold stare with the spin. But this saves a little bit of magic, so you could snipe cold stare with that fire rod and not have to take too many hugs from him.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure he gets that that kill in, and he does successfully.
In the compass chest, we just found a key, and there's the hook shot. So that was not bow locked. But nice to pick up either way. We'll be heading to Swamp next. Be interesting to see if one of our runners elects to do Pyramid Fairy, Catfish afterwards, because Pod is going to be our second red crystal. As Nash is heading back into Dark World, he's going to be taking the portal here from Swamp Palace. I'm assuming he's going to be taking the walk over toward Palace of Darkness next with that bow in hand.
That would make sense.
What are we missing from Go Mode? We're missing Flute. And that's it. We got everything else that we need to finish out all the rest of our dungeon outside of that 2D dude.
I don't think we've been to the desert, so we don't know if it's boots locked yet.
Yeah, and that all-important Meyer medallion might be sitting on our lumberjack, so we might need boots and clear Aga before we're even able to clear out the rest of our crystal dungeons. Nash, I love this red. I have been doing this recently too, mirroring, going, okay, I'm walking to Pod, I'm walking to Pyramid, I'm doing Pyramid Fairy. Well, I put off Hobo for a while. I'm just going to mirror right here and do it.
Yeah, it's a nice little way to route in the Hobo on the way to Pod here.
As Vextopher heads through their second mimic room. As he's going to be facing a Helmosaur King, that evil dinosaur that swings his tail and breathes fire. Hammering these worm bags over here on the right-hand side for Nash. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Palace of Darkness here. Just want to remind you guys, you can follow both of our runners and their mentors by hitting the exclamation mark R command inside of Twitch chat, and do the same thing for your commentating team and tracker, the lovely WGarrison. I am not bitter about losing to him in the Challenge Cup at all. Garrison's great. I love Garrison. He's doing a fantastic job tracking this race for us today. So everyone, make sure you give him a follow. He is really good at randomizer. And give our good friend Norskmatty a follow as well. Me, don't follow me. I'm a jerk. Don't mind.
Don't follow him.
So we get a Helmosaur fight here after these 4 Terrapins get flipped over onto their shell. 17 hammer smacks. I think it's 5, maybe 6 bombs to take off the mask. I don't remember. I rarely have to use bomb strats on Helmosaur. So you just count the smacks. Once you get to 17, you unleash this spin, swipe twice with your temper sword, and you're good to go. And down goes Helmosaur. There's Crystal. And nothing too interesting from the Helmosaur drop, so I would imagine Vextopher's going to save and quit here and go right to Swamp.
Yeah, another crystal. Not a lot of reason to go do anything else at the moment.
Alright, heading into Swamp. I see Mr. Ben Creighton dropping in some weird tech that you can do with the Armo Shake to get into Lumberjack without boots. That is a really obscure trick.
I would be surprised if we were to see that in this race today.
Surprised, not so much from my end. Shock would be more one of those words I would use. Really? You're doing this? Really? Really? Okay, I'm down.
It'd be interesting to see someone do that, and then we end up needing the boots for Desert anyway.
As Nash is just going right to the back here. He found the big key first before going right-hand side. We know Hookshot's in the basement. He has to push that statue to make the switch go down, unlike Vextopher, who just had his red cane to use. So the question becomes, how long until Nash heads into the fairy fountain in Zora? That red cane is, right now for Nash, a long way off.
Yeah, once he gets his hook shot, I can imagine he'd go straight in the swamp as well. So, at least the swamp pile is clear from going into Waterfall Fairy, Zora, and everything.
Yeah, and without that red king, he's going to have to rely on Bomb Diver Down, which is actually not that bad, but it's not the one that a lot of newer runners are familiar with. It's a little bit harder to line up than it is just put the block down, do your jump, clip into the rail, and just hold out your sword and jump. But it acts very similarly, so if you're able to line up your pixel-perfect location, well, it's not even pixel-perfect. You have a range of pixels you could stand on for that bomb or diver down, so might be a good learning time if he doesn't know it.
That is one of the tricks that I've learned during this mental tournament, so we'll see if Nash has as well.
Yeah, it's pretty similar visually to Icebreaker. To set up the bomb diver down, you need to be essentially 1 pixel below the hard black tile line on the stairs. And then you just need to be slightly right of the stairs in some way from the center of the stairs. But getting that pixel lined up is quite difficult depending upon what sprite you use. So I don't think either of these sprites are much too difficult to get that lineup for, so. As we haven't picked up anything that is dungeon item, so we're just gonna head right to the back for Vex and say, well, there's nothing on left side swamp, so yeah, we're good. We're just kind of looking for flute, buddy. Once we find it, we're good. At least that's what I would be telling him. We know Bombos is Meyer. Don't worry about it. We don't need that Quake Medallion. Don't worry about it. We got it. We're just looking for flute. We don't need boots either. Desert's wide open. Just don't worry about it. Just go. As we've got at least one item over on the left-hand side of Swamp. We did find Compass in the Diver Down room.
And meanwhile, Nash is clearing out the rest of the pod. Gonna get his hook shot right now.
And we're gonna get ourselves a quick Argus fight with Tempered Sword, hook shot. We'll see probably Fire Rod stretch from Vextopher. If you hold out a spin, do 2 Fire Rod shots, push Argus into the wall, and then let go of your spin at the same time. You can 1 cycle him in the second phase. Nice little trick you can do. You can do that with silvers as well, or you just shoot 1 silver arrow right into his eye from the side. Argus's hitbox is weird. If you ever played one of those shmup games with the you have 1 pixel where you can get hit, it's kind of like that.
Yes, especially with the arrow, a lot of his body is actually not damageable. You kind of need to aim right. But in this case, just doing the fire rod and spin, as you said.
You can do the same thing with the ice rod if you have it as well. So 2 ice rod shots, spin, you're good. If you have Master Sword, it does take an extra rod shot to do the spin shot, but you can do it in 1 cycle with the Master Sword. As we are getting that Pyramid Fairy, Pyramid, maybe Catfish check over on Vextopher's side.
Yeah, he might take this all the way to Catfish if he doesn't get the flute or anything along the way here.
Like I said, if I'm Espeon, I'm telling him, dude, we've got Bombos. Desert isn't boots locked. Let's just look for a flute and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, if you get the flute, you are going to go over there and take a look.
Yeah, because then you know, okay, well, we're Quake locked. Okay, well, that means we definitely need the boots. Now we can start doing stuff that is density checks. Okay, we couldn't do anything in Hookshot Cave. Well, now that's open for us. You know, we've got Red Cane Fire Rod. That's a whole bunch in TR we can do. Which Flute loves being in TR. If it's a Meyer Medallions love being in TR. So... And there's those boots, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Now I'm just telling them, yeah, dude, we're looking for flute. Now, the real gamble would be, you're at Pyramid already, you have Mirror. Do you just do Aga1, go grab Quake, and say, well, Myers Quake? And just give yourself a nice little shortcut?
I would not do that myself, but... and it looks like Vextopher is not. He's not even going to Catfish.
All right, that's interesting. You did have Graveyard Ledge you could loop in with it with Catfish, but you can do it from the other way too. You can just use the portal, walk over to Graveyard Ledge, and do Catfish from there. He's gonna go get Book to go do Desert. Okay, that's interesting. We do have the full range of Desert to check. I don't think Vextopher checked Agina, right? I don't remember him doing it.
No, neither of our runners have done that, so we don't know what's there.
All right, just a piece of heart on the dig spot. We're gonna get our book. We're gonna take a save and quit, and then we're gonna dash down to Desert. We'll sing in front of a tablet, visit an old man in a cave, and maybe get ourselves a flute. So he gets that spin speed on the stairs in front of, I think that's the meeting house for Kakariko Village. I know it's the Arrow game in Dark Village, but I always forget what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. I never go into it.
Sounds like a true speedrunner of Link to the Past. I never go into it. And then you play across keys and forget it's there and it exists.
He's gonna do a magic bat for us here first.
Again, another thing that makes sense. You're right kind of over here, and then you just hard orphan the purple chest and just say, well, if Flute's there, you throw up your arms. As we are going to get that bomb diver down from Nash here. It looks like he lined it up right. That bomb might be a little too far left. Yeah. So yeah, if you notice, his hat is kind of clipping into that black bar in that first step. You just need to be a little right of the center of that ladder. Drop your bomb, jump in, do your regular diver down, and the bomb pushes you right in. Very nicely done. Okay, now where is Vex checking head? No, he's going into Dark World. Okay. This is interesting. You go pick up your book, but you don't beeline it to Desert. I guess he's figuring I could turn him the purple chest when I head to Desert.
Yeah, looks like that's what's. Oh, maybe
Graveyard Ledge.
Graveyard Ledge.
Okay. Okay, this is interesting.
And they will we will be able to get the boots, the 2 boots checks along the way there as well.
He's doing the one item in Skullwoods. We know it's just a single rupee. So just doing a little bit of cleanup. Okay, this makes a little sense. It's just weird that you would go and commit to getting the book and then not beeline it right to Desert. But hey, you never know. We're looking for Flute. Flute can be anywhere but Meyer area at this point, so... As we get another crystal over on Nash's side, let's see where he decides to go next. He could go ahead and do that Pyramid Fairy. We know boots are on Pyramid, so he's probably not going to head toward Village of Outcasts again to pick up the book, because he's got to get those boots first. And he's going to Pyramid Fairy. So all in all, Nash has been a little behind this whole race, but more than enough to be within reaching distance of, here's a routing decision I make that might cut a corner to push me right where I need to be with Vextopher, so... It always pays off. You are always in a race until you hit go mode, or your opponent hits go mode before you. And even then, it could be GT routing the difference. As we get Bonk Rocks for the first time, just 10 arrows. We're going to be checking Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb as well. Using that hook shot to masterful perfection is Nash with that big red bomb. He's going to get the good news that he's got boots. Got to do the pyramid first. Gets his arrows. Gets the blue loopy. Now for Nash's hope, we hope he does catfish into Zora area. He still needs to get the red cane from the fairy fountain there, which is probably going to be what he does. Knowing you've got a density area with catfish from pyramid makes a lot of sense. There's nothing on Graveyard Ledge. Inside of our King's Tomb, we've got a single chest. It could be Flute. It could be something else. It's bombs. Why did they bury the king with bombs? It doesn't make any sense. Alright, and Nash is going to be high-fiving Vextopher here in a moment as he's going over to do King's Tomb Graveyard Ledge as well.
Yeah, gonna come over here and looks like do these 3 and then maybe go back over to Catfish and the Light World water chicks.
Yeah. He definitely needs to do that, knowing where the can of Samari is at. The longer you put that off, the more time you're going to try and sink into doing other things. That cane is very necessary, and if you happen to find Flute and Mire access before you find the red cane, you start weighing in your head, is it in Mire? Is it in Mire? And that's not a fun game to play. And just bombs on our second fish-faced friend, the catfish. So if I'm Vex, I'm going to desert.
Yeah. And it looks like that is what he's going to do. Possibly. Unless he's going to Dark World. He did pick up the book. He can do Bombos tablet on the way.
First. Yeah, he's going to do the tablet first. Again, it makes perfect sense. Loop that in. So it's weird, he decided to do all of these things, but didn't pick up the purple chest with it. It would have been slower to take the purple chest with you, but you could have looped that in with this. Yeah, I like thinking of these little things that you could add in with routes, because I am a cluster router. The more I can do together, the happier I am. I could be dead wrong, but I like doing that. So I probably wouldn't have taken the purple chest with me since I have boots, but it's just one of those things where you could have done it.
There's a cape there on Desert Ledge. We know that Bumper Ledge had 300 rupees, so cape is not required.
It could be. That cape now puts Spike Cave in the logic with half.
Oh, that's true.
And I think the cape, even without half magic, technically puts you in enough logic to do Spike Cave. Because I think vanilla blue cane is there in Spike Cave, if I remember correctly. Alright, small key. Inside, I think that is the map chest. We've got the compass and the big key chest coming up here on the right-hand side. Now, if I am Nash, if I'm feeling behind, I go get that book. There's Ether. So now we have Turtle Rock access. He's going to go get his book. And then I would dash right to desert. I might pick up the purple chest knowing I'm going that direction anyway and loop that in with the tablet. But ignoring it is just as good as taking it at this point, you know, until Flute's there and both of our runners last location it. But as I said, at that point, you just hold up your hands and you just go, welp. So we find bombs inside the big chest. I didn't see anything on the torch, so we'll go maybe get that cape and go kill Lamolas in hopes of finding a flute. Yep, Nash is going to do powder. You're right here. There's no better time to do it. So, Maddie, where do you think this flute's at?
Well, could very well be in Turtle Rock, now that we have the Ether tablet, Ether medallion.
I am thinking third chest in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of Hookshot Cave yet either.
Because technically Hookshot was ahead of our Titans Mitts in this scene. Because of how Pod Logic was, we got the small key to do the back, and the hookshot was in the basement. I'm weird. I like to think about when I get an item to push up where logically everything could be. And something that's mirror locked, like Titans was, even though we got the mirror early and it kind of pushed it up in the same value, I like to prioritize dungeons with it. So I like to think that Hookshot for us was ahead of our Titans mates in this seed. And down goes Lamolas. As we just get a map. And Nash right behind Vextopher in doing Desert Palace. So there is an item left on Armos. There are 3 items inside of Thieves Town. There are all of the items but anything on Trinex in Turtle Rock because we don't have Ice Rod just yet. We've done all of the overworld except for the stuff on Dark Death Mountain. For the most part, Hookshot Cave, Spike Cave, Mimic Cave. And that's about it. We've done everything else.
Yeah.
So.
It's not here in Agina.
As Nash gets his Ether Medallion, and here comes Vex going up to Hookshot Cave. Maybe into TR. Perfect. I was just about to say, do you do Spike Cave first? And he's not doing it first.
He is not.
Acceptable too. It's one of those things you know you have to save and quit from Spike Cave anyway. So do you just do that first if it's Flute you're in go mode, or do you save that to last after a TR dip? And if I'm weighing that in my head, I think I prefer doing Spike Cave first, if that's my situation. Again, not saying Vex is wrong by doing this at all. It's just one of those things that's, it's a preference thing. And it's so weird when you're just looking for one item. What things in your preferences do you want to do first?
Yeah, and like in a lot of the case so far, Vex is choosing the density over the single check.
Yeah, nothing wrong with density. It's safe. It's more likely if you look at the mathematics of the randomizer. That's why I was talking about the idea of when you're doing a seed, when does things for you in density get pushed forward versus being stuck where it always is at, you know? And that's something that you just innately start to learn over time, seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seeds. As we get our first look into Hookshot Cave. There's silver arrows. Those are nice. Oh, Blue Pea, here comes my flute chest. Oh, it's a piece of heart.
No.
I'm sad now.
Nothing here.
Alright, do you do Spike or do you do TR? We're doing TR.
Oh, at this point you do TR. You're here.
I like it. I like it. Might as well be gutsy. Alright, let's see. Compass inside the map chest in TR.
Nash finishing up Desert. Then we will see once he presumably goes and does the Gina check, what he will do next.
I just love the logic discussion going on in chat right now. Well, you've got the tablet and Spike Cave to do. Is it faster just to go up there to do that first? That's always the great debate as to when did you get your stuff? When does it become in logic? How should you do it? It just tickles all the best puzzle parts of my brain.
Just go where the items are. That's the easiest part.
See, and that's the easiest answer. Just go where Flute's at. Just go there. You know where it's at, right? Come on, come on. You just claim you knew it was there the whole time.
Yes, I just did those. I just did those other things for fun.
Yeah. I did that in the Challenge Cup race. I accidentally missed for like a buy. There was a big battle royal, and I mismarked my ice palace, and did it and pulled pet. I'm like, oh wait, I didn't have to do that. I just did it for fun, guys. I just did it for fun. Don't worry about it.
So Nash did check Ether Tablet and did not get anything out of it, but looks like he's going to skip the Spike Cave and go straight into TR Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, either way, you were gonna have to take a save and quit out of Spike Cave. And it's one of those things where if it's in Spike Cave, if Flute's in Spike Cave, how much time would you have saved if you didn't, if you went ahead and skipped TR to do it? So, to me, as I'm kind of looking at this, I'm going, okay, if it's there, I save so much time versus dipping the last dungeon in the game. Just walking through Turtle Rock to go to Trinex is 2.5 minutes. Just to walk there with everything already checked, it's 2.5 minutes. So it's one of those things, do you feel behind or do you feel ahead? If you feel ahead, you go ahead and play a little bit more safe. If you feel behind, you gamble maybe those one-off locations. As we're going to get a Mimic Cave check here from Vex.
The last Mimic didn't want to die.
That Mimic was eating all of the sword beams, and you just angrily swipe at him. Just die. Just come on. Come. Stupid. Fine, hammer. All right, small key. We're gonna get the roller room check after a little bonk here into the wall. Really hoping it's Flute. Nice little tech there with the hook shot. Stand on that peg, hook shot across. Get those iframes to walk through the roller. And no Dark Maze today for us in Turtle Rock. This actually, even though it seems like it's very intimidating, this room in the dark is actually super easy. You just hold down right at the start until you stop moving, pick up the skull, listen for the click. Then you hold up, right, down, left. And you're good. Uh-oh. Ash got him stuck on the pegs. Okay, maybe three.
He escaped the chain jumps. Continues on his way.
As that red beetle was hecking up Vextopher. He's trying to use the bootstraps here. Can be quicker than using a cape or blue cane, which Vex does have. But good practice to have to get through that. It's a lot trickier than it looks. And there's the map. TR was not our answer.
Unless we find the ice rod.
Yeah, it's extremely possible. Green Pendant holds it. I think Trinex does have an item on itself. Or we could be looking at Ped. Alright, so fun facts. I've got Spike Cave. I've got Thieves Town. I've got an item on Armos. I've got Purple Chest. It looks like he's committing to Thieves Town here. Alright, let's see what's in the back of Thieves Town. We've got 3 items in total for Thieves Town. Kind of feels bad you're already here, but Pendant Thieves Town, especially when it's not green pendant, is kind of a jerk. So
yeah, this is of all the dungeons to double dip, this is one of the best because you can clear out the front and then pretty quickly make your way, especially with the boots, here into the back. The only problem is that the back a little slow to get all the remaining chests.
yeah, and unfortunately the back itself, because you know you're always going to get the big key in the front. So essentially everything but the big chest itself in Thieves Town is kind of like the front of Skullwoods. It's in logic as soon as you get access to the Village of Outcast. So you're kind of just going, okay, when do I play that? How do I play that? What do I really do? Do I have hammer? It's tough. It's a real tough call to make, especially early on in the seed. If you've got a lot of items to go ahead and do that Thieves Town play early. What will hurt even worse is that if we find Ice Rod here and it's actually sitting on Trinex the whole time, that would be the worst.
That would be pretty rough.
As Nash gets a little lost in the dark maze, sometimes you go to input a little bit quick and you're off track. That's when he gets right back on. It's actually surprising how sensitive those red cane pads are on these little white tracks. As we see Vex head through the basement of Thieves Town, he's got the small key. I do the big chest first. Or I go get blind first. That's fine. It's one of those things where I'm one item away from go mode. If it's in the big chest, I save time by not picking up blind.
Yeah. This is you know, this is fine too. You kind of play it as you're gonna have to do everything. Oh, there it is. And we are going to ditch the maiden.
All right. So, how evil is the seed? Is Meyer locked by Quake? We're gonna find out real shortly. If we gotta do AGA 1. Alright, everyone, salute your friendly neighborhood space duck who magically and majestically brings you to 8 specific locations all across Hyrule. Don't ask me why this duck is so strong. He just is. He's magical. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. It is Bombos. All right, so we are officially in go mode at 1:21:27 over on Vextopher side.
Yep, no AGA required. Finally, we learned.
And Nash is right behind, going into Thieves Town. He's going to get his flute here within... he's got to do the top first 2 minutes or so, I want to say.
Give or take.
Gets through that room real easily, does Vex. Those sword beams make it significantly easier. You can use Fire Rod, Hookshot does the same thing, especially to the worms. Just takes care of that room without a sweat. Now let's see if we get a Godmire. I want Vex to try and hover. I don't know if he can hover. If he can hover, why is he here? And it's Ice Rod. Oof.
At least we got that when we knew we don't need it.
That's always nice. There's the big key. So a pseudo Godmire. That's always nice. Just have to go kill Vitreous. He's got silvers. That'll be easy. Let's see if Vex knows Spooky Glitch. Now, Spooky Glitch is absolutely amazing. It will melt your brain. You set it up by making sure you are south of the duck when you flute over to the number 6 portal. You lift up the rock. Through magic and chicanery, you somehow identify yourself as being in a location at all times. Then once you enter Mire, you put down a red block after kicking up some dust or shooting a fire rod or ice rod shot or a red boomerang or sword beams even works. There's a lot of things that work with it. And then you can shoot your fire rod at either some magical anti-fairies. You can shoot it at that spike. We don't need to shoot it at the spike today since we didn't hit the switch before. It needs to be a little bit higher. Okay, he's just giving up on it. So for this one, the anti-fairy, you have to hit between the 3rd and the 4th block from the top. And then you'll hear the click. And sometimes it just doesn't want to work. So.
Yep, I mean, you have to make sure. I didn't actually see him come in, so I don't know how he did it. But if it, you know, you don't really know if you've done it correctly. You just do it over the course of many times, and you get it down.
It's so weird. I'm in the muscle memory of always doing it whenever I use that portal, even if I have no intention of entering Mire anyway. So it's just always, I'm going south of the duck, lifting up the rock and portaling. And nothing on Vitreous, but that is our 7th and final crystal, which means it's time to play a very special game called the GT Big Key Guessing Game. 1 through 22, put your guess in the chat now where you think that GT Big Key is going to be. We have full access to GT, so you can guess 1, you can guess 22 if you don't want, you know, a good time. I always select number 14. Natty, you got a number?
I usually pick 8.
8. 8's a good number. There's Vex trying to set up some spin speed. I like to try and... Ooh. As he gets dead rocked. That stinks. That is absolutely the worst position. Come on, Bedrock, get out of there. Come on. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah. Clear him out.
As Nash is heading through his Misery Mire. Vex is going to be using the TR portal here. Since it is open, it is a little bit faster than going through Super Bunny Cave. If you don't have it open, it's essentially a coin toss as to whether or not you want to do Super Bunny or open up the TR portal. I think it's like a difference of like half a second or something like that. Alright, our guessing game does close once Vextopher does get into Ganon's tower. We will be using his count should anything catastrophic happen and Nash enters in and checks things that Vextopher hasn't. It looks like Nash is setting up the spooky glitch. He does not have to hit the spike with the fire rod. Hopefully he is reminding himself of that, or his mentor, Megawott, is doing the same thing. Oh, you don't have to hit it, dude. Don't hit. Oh, you're going to have to hit it again. Oh. Oh, no. Okay. His mentor reminded him. Perfect. Check number 1 and number 2, not the big key, but we do find a mushroom. Maybe a little bit higher. There we go. Small key on what we affectionately call Bob's torch. Rip Bob! Bob, the glitched anti-fairy. He is now his normal self. I like to think he's inverted, so I call him Pop. So if we happen to find Pop, make sure you give him a hearty how do you do. Check number 4 is a small key. Check number 5 is also a small key. Check number 6 is a piece of heart, and number 7 is bombs. It looks as though Vextopher's going to be committing to a full left after checking Hope Room. As Nash gets his 7th final crystal off of Vitreous. Deck number 8 is 300 roops. Using that blue boomerang to hit that switch. Nicely done by Vex. As Nash is heading up his mountain climb, Vex electing to go ahead and do red cane strats here on the switches. Gonna use a little trick here. You can use sword beams, hook shot, boomerang. As long as you're standing on that peg, it'll give you iframes to go over and use that portal without taking any damage from the spikes. Check number 9 here is this hookshot chest. It's just a compass. 10, 11, 12, 13 is going to be inside the randomizer room. The only time you see this room is when you happen to be playing randomizer. Check number 10, 11, 12, and 13. Not our answers today. Number 14 is going to be Bob's chest. We're going to see Bob as his normal self. He has a Jekyll and Hyde personality. As we're going to probably get a bonk here. Nice little skip. That saves you a second and a half of portaling. Yeah, this is really down to GT routing.
Yeah.
If the big key is in Compass Room, and Nash elects to do Compass Room after doing Dark Magician, he will have made up a lot of time. He's going Dark Magicians first. With silvers, it makes sense to go ahead and go full left since you can kill the armor super quick. If Nash feels behind and this big key is in Tile Room, you could use your Tile Room strats with Cape if you want. And the big key is actually inside that compass, inside behind the Armos. That was check number 17 was the correct answer. Right, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, 18 or 17 was the correct answer. Congratulations to Swedish Arctic Fox. You are a winner of the GT Big Key Guessing Game today. Congratulations. You win yourself some imaginary internet points that are good for absolutely nothing. Only valid the day after this race completes.
Still feels a little good, I'm sure.
As Nash is heading right side here. Really not going to be much here that's going to help Nash through a GT climb or with Ganon. Butter makes the highest Master Sword level, our Butter Sword, will help in ensuring getting through each phase at least quickly. But you can do the same thing with Tempered Sword. So there's really not much time here to be saved for Nash outside of something catastrophic over on his opponent's end. Nash just fire rod them, or boomerang them, stun them. Those Gibdos like to heck you up. Ooh, good. He got through. Really don't want a death on his side. I don't think he has a fairy. So he finds a plastic shield, some roops, more roops, and a full heart container.
And he will have to go and do the whole rest of the left side until he gets down to beat the Armos Knights there in the ice room.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be a second to last location for him. I like, if I'm going DM, then going right, I like just to go full right from that point, especially if I have Kate. I don't know if there's much of a time save on that, but at that point, you're just going, okay, I went back right anyway. I can get over to the Armos fights. And if it happens to be left side anyway, and I didn't go full left to start, well, that's on me. As nice Wizrobes 2 from Vextopher. I would imagine he's not going to be making any more checks throughout this race. He's just going to be going, I need to kill the wizard. And then I need to hit a pig with a bacon sword. Alright, Vex through this Torch Room 1. He's got Torch Room 2 to use. He's just going to go straight left in this Helmasaur room. Nothing in these chests is going to be worth his while. We already have all 4 bottles. We have our red mail. The only thing of possibly any interest would be an upgraded sword. But we've got tempered. We don't need anything else. We've got silvers. We don't need anything else. We're good to go. And we got Moldorm 2 Electric Boogaloo going on. A swipe, a dash, and a spin will do it. Down goes Moldorm 2. Hook shot over, and you got yourself an Aga 2 fight after this pinball Helmasaur room. Hook shot,
Yep.
dash up.
Actually, it doesn't really matter if you hit the mini Helmasaur with the hookshot or not. He'll run past you if you don't.
I like doing a double dash. As soon as I get into that room, I just head up left, and then I just dash right up, and then dash again. I don't know if it saves any time or not. It might be the same amount of time. I might be losing time. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, evil pattern there, wizard.
Still got a double out of it. It was very nice.
Vex with some salty swipes there. Takes down the wizard. All we've got left is 12 swings or 6 spins in each of phase 1 and 2 of the Ganon fight, 4 swipes in phase 3, and then a swipe and an arrow 4 times in phase 4. You don't even need to get the torch glitch today. You've got half magic, you've got fire rod, you've got silvers. Just kill that pig. Alright, setting up a double spin off of the trident there. That's a real difficult setup to get. It's real finicky. I did get 1 spin off. It looks as though you pushed the phase. Alright, this is actually a nice little setup here. You can use your cape, you can use your spins. There we go. Use that cape. Gotta dodge those bats. They're evil. They're on fire. Or are they made of fire?
It's nicely done. It's already into phase 3.
Yep. Gotta swing your bacon sword at the pig. These should be up on top here. Our silver arrows, well, we have those. We don't need a hint for those. We got them. Nice dodge of the bat. There's 1 arrow shot. You do yourself a couple fire red shots. He's gonna get double arrows off here. Oh, no, he didn't. He took a hug accidentally. Should be okay to get another hit off. Oh! Playing it safe, though. Playing it safe. Cancels out the bat, and there we go. Ganon is down. Rockman kills the pig today. Get your GGs in chat for Vextopher and his mentor Espeon as we get an official racetime.gg finish of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 18 seconds. GG's to Vex.
GG's Vex.
Nash not that far behind. He just finished off his Land Mola 2. Probably looking at about a finish from him in about 3 minutes or so. I'm sure we're going to get our runners and mentors in here in a moment. Talk about this seed with some very interesting 2D placements. That being in Thieves Town Big Chest. A very similar routing out of Nash and Vextopher. Really, the only difference would have been the Red Cane Ice Palace. That was a big time sink for Nash. And doing Southford before Eastern, that really was the difference in the race. Nice and Blanc from Nash's side. Gonna powder these anti-fairs, get a refill, gonna get some magic. Got a Moldorm 2 fight, slash, dash, and a spin. We'll take care of Moldorm. Ooh, that Trollin' Moldy bouncing off that wall, bouncing into our poor Lonk. He gets knocked off the edge, that's okay.
Come right back up, go at it again.
Happens to everyone. There's a spin, a slash spin, dash poke, whatever it is you want. We'll take care of Moldorm here. There you go. Down goes that evil worm as he explodes. How and why he explodes, we don't know, but he does. Hook shot's over. We've got this Helmosaur bumper room, and then we've got a wizard fight. Dash on over. It's the evil wizard, Aga. Anyone else think Shaft from Castlevania looks like him too? No Shaft fans here?
No, I love Shaft. Which one? Symphony of the Night, man.
Technically Bloodlines first, or Dracula.
Well, that's true.
Whichever one you played first. So,
you're right. I guess Bloodlines.
As we have Vextopher joining us along with Espeon. GG on
GG's
today.
Thanks.
This seed was super generous early, and then
yeah,
super dry looking for that flute.
It would have been such a different seed if we had decided, hey, let's finish these down. There's 3 items back there.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things we were talking about it during the race was where in this type of seed, with where the pendants are at so early, do you cut corners? And really, honestly, it was your guys' cutting corners that won you the race. So Nash ended up doing everything in Eastern up to the big chest. Unfortunately for Nash, he didn't check Fairy Fountain in Zora before doing Ice Palace. So really, that's the big difference in the race. So yeah, he had an IPPJ and walk all the way around an Ice Palace. Oh, no. So
yeah, and given how crazy fast that Ice Palace is with Icebreaker, all the items are just right up front.
Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't have to do any. We didn't even have to get the Freezor chest. We're done.
Yeah, that was really the big difference in the race. Doing Ice Palace with Icebreaker versus having to do a bomb jump with all of the items locked behind technically a small key that you have to then go back up or mirror to walk across, to go over, to get.
Oh yeah, so that was an actual awful Ice Palace layout for not Icebreakering.
Yeah.
It was the worst possible because you'd have to go down and up and around.
Because even just go-moding Ice Palace bomb jump to Icebreaker is like a difference of 90 to 2 minutes, depending upon how well you do on your bomb jump. So when you're having to walk across to check all the items with it too, it's a big sink. Oof, saved himself there. Oof, that was close.
Yeah, that was very close.
Shoots the pig again. Alright, perfect. Got that swipe off. Double, and down goes Evil Ganon. Hit your GGs in chat for our other racer, Nashsauter, who finishes the seed in 1 hour, 42:33 officially in race time. GGs. So yeah, this seed pretty early on. Glove in Sanctuary, Hammer on Uncle, Moon Pearl, right-hand side of Eastern. You and Vex, you and Nash essentially did the same routing outside of starting. You ended up starting at the Uncle, correct?
No, I started Sank.
You started Sank, so you got the glove. He started Uncle, got the hammer.
Yep.
And
We
so
kind of figured.
he ended up going south before doing Kakariko, but how this seed was laid out early, you were going to do all those checks eventually anyway.
Well, yeah,
because
for sure.
That Moon Pearl spot over on the right-hand side of Appended Eastern is not too great, so...
No, we actually, at the time, we had discussed, so we'd finished all of our checks, and we finished all the South Shore, and then we were like, okay, well, we have Escape, which there's 4 items with Uncle and the 2 items that were left, and we have Eastern Saha's Closet, right? And I was like, well, if Nash started at Uncle, and it has something we really need, then, you know, that's why we did Eastern, or that's mostly why we did that. Went to Escape, and then went to Saha. But it works out that we probably would have done the same thing, just in the other order anyways. But...
And then, really, from that point on, once you guys got Dark World access, you guys were pretty much on rails with each other up until the end of Swamp Palace. Now, you elected to save and quit to go get up into the village to do your batter check, to do... what else was with that? You went into the Dark World to get the item out of Skullwoods that you left, and then North Dark World.
Yep.
Versus Nash elected to, with the Big Red Bomb, go to Catfish Graveyard Ledge from there. Kind of go through your thought process of picking up the book, assuming that you needed a book to get the flute, and then once you got through all the Lupa Desert, you guys went up the mountain to go do Turtle Rock. Kind of go through the thought process of skipping Spike Cave and the tablet versus going into Turtle Rock for potentially, nothing, which it ended up being.
Well, we were going to orphan those probably. So because we didn't have Ice Rod, I couldn't just finish Trinex and get warped back to the front. We kind of had to check Mimic Cave and had to check the other things, so we couldn't just mirror out. So, yeah, we just more checks in TR than those 2 checks. So we figured we'd do it, and then at that point, we can't mirror out, so we would have had to save and quit anyways. And we said, all right, we're just gonna go do Thieves, because at that point, Thieves is more items for us, because there was 3 in the back still.
So it was more or less you guys were following the density versus.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I can do these 2 quick checks up the mountain versus the density check, but if it happens to not have anything for me, well, then I just wasted my time doing them.
Yeah, I mean, you ask Espeon what his thought process were, but that was my assumption of his thought process.
I mean, if you're looking at Ether and Spike Cave, you're also looking at Hera Basement. And
Yep.
didn't really want to do that.
We did what
And yeah, there was an item in Hera Basement. Okay. And our other runners joining us, along with their mentor, Nashsauter and Megawott. GG's, guys.
GG.
GG's.
So yeah, we were talking about it. The real difference in this race was the Samaria-less Ice Palace for you guys, and then going to Sasra's Closet without doing Eastern. That was the difference in this race. That was it.
Makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
basically what we figured, yeah. Because, at least to us, the route felt pretty straightforward. You had a few times where you could potentially make a slightly different choice, but there always seemed like a definitive best one most of the time, and that's generally what we stuck to the whole way through. So
Yeah, early on in the first 12 minutes when you guys were doing your super early Sphere 1 checks, you guys ended up starting at the Uncle to get the hammer. Espeon and Vex ended up starting in sync to get the glove. So we saw that divergence early, and then once you guys came together to get the Moon Pearl, Vex was the first to get the Moon Pearl, and then I think you were something like maybe 40 seconds right behind. Vex left the Moon Pearl to go do Dark World. You guys continued on through the rest of Eastern. kind of go through your thought process, both as a mentor and a mentee, as to why you guys elected to do that.
To stay in Eastern or to leave?
To stay in Eastern, specifically for Nash and Megawatt.
I suppose the reason we decided to stay, which we talked about it afterwards and felt like it was probably a mistake to do so, but the reason we had for it was that felt like we were pretty efficient with our route up to that point, and that Eastern Palace was probably a location that our opponent would also be last locating or near last locating their Pearl in anyway. So we may as well continue to play efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I always like to say there are no wrong decisions made in randomizer. There's just unlucky ones. So
You mean like not finishing Thieves the first time we were there?
yes, that's the regular pendant Thieves Town. You find one item in the front, you're just going, okay, I'm done with this. I'm leaving. I don't want to put up with this. So,
Yeah, I have to assume that you guys also left
Yeah.
because, I
Yeah,
mean,
that was
I
our
think
go
I think
mode.
if you stay,
Yep.
you probably get something like a 130, maybe sub 130 on this seed for sure.
Yeah. I was you know, begging the seed not to make me go do Aga when we got to Meyer finally.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
have been funny. Just after getting the flute and having to go all the way back through Castle Tower.
Yeah. That would,
Yeah.
that would have been like, oh man, here we go.
yeah. The chat exploded when you guys found the flute finally in the Thieves Town big chest, and we're like, hold on, it may be Quake locked.
Sure, but we knew where it was, so it's fine.
I mean, it would have been unfortunate, but
It was funny before you guys even found the boots on Pyramid. I was talking about how if I'm a mentor here, like an hour 10 in, I'm looking for the flute. I'm going to my mentee. I'm saying, hey, we don't need boots. Bombos is what's opening up Meyer. We're good. We don't worry about it. Just find flute and we're good. And it ended up being the case. So because we didn't need the boots for anything in desert. So
yeah, no, that's true. When did you guys get the boots? I'm assuming Nash, you guys got them.
Yeah, we got him after Swamp Palace.
yeah, you guys were, so for the majority of this race, Megawatt and Nash were about somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 seconds behind, somewhere in there. What made this a 4-minute difference was Nash ended up mirroring from DM to go right instead of committing left. So, that's what, a full 2.5 minutes somewhere in there of going right and then coming back left. So really, this race was really, really close up until the end, and we're like, well, this could be GT routing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think that loses that much time going through to Compass Room. If you mirror out of Compass Room also, it sounds like, then, I mean, that's maybe like 2 minutes at most. That lines up perfectly.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made the difference, but maybe if we didn't keep going after Moon Pearl or got Samaria earlier, that would have been more important.
I think Samaria is the most important thing because the ice layout is an extremely fast full clear with Kane and a really slow full clear without it.
Mhm.
So that probably makes a big difference, I would say.
Yeah, that's probably in the neighborhood of somewhere in 2.5 minutes, easily.
I think it was just a very unfortunate Samaria placement because, it's definitely a spot where you could consider, we'll just quickly check these 2 spots in the waterfall, and hey, if it's the cane, then great. But we figured since that was relatively very unlikely to happen, we'll just okay, we'll just save a little bit of time and do ice before we mirror and go do, which ended up biting us, but I don't think it was a bad call.
think
Just
it's
a very
reasonable.
unlucky one.
yeah, for sure. I mean, the reason that I think we kind of did a little crazy, like we finished, we went straight to the back of Skull Woods, like after we did some of VOO, and then we just save and quit out the back after we killed Moth and got the other chest, and then we went up the mountain like immediately. And then
Did you guys do the front of Skull Woods?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well,
we
yes,
literally
but like
eventually
40 minutes later.
Yeah, we left the
Ah.
front of. That's why we had Kane waterfall, right? Because no, it's not. Is it?
No, I mean there was kind of two options in mind. The first one was to just leave after finishing Muff. The second is to go back, finish the front, and then pull the entire North Dark World loop, plus go to Catfish, mirror from Catfish to Zora, and that would have gotten Kane also. Really, it just came down to I don't want to do Ice Palace without Kane because it's not very good, and so I just like okay, well we'll go ahead and do Zora first because you know if you think about just checks per time, you probably get better front-loaded value after Zora than if you do Ice first.
All right. Well, Maddie, you have any questions for our runners and our mentors?
No, I think everything was covered pretty well. But both runners did a great job. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. Well, GG's to both our runners and our mentors. Good luck going forward in brackets, and I think there's one more week of Swiss, right? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
One more.
Yep. Yeah. Good luck to both Vextopher and Nashsauter. I think I'm pronouncing that right, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. And going forward in this mentor tournament, and good to see Megawatt and Espeon doing some mentoring for newer runners as well. So thank you guys very much for putting on a really good close race for most of it.
Yeah. Thanks. I love racing. It's good times. So GG's, Nash.
GG's.
Guys.
All right, remember, you guys can follow our runners and mentors by hitting the !R command inside a Twitch chat. You can do the same thing for your commentating and tracking team by hitting !C. If you guys love Randomizer, and if you're here at the Go Mode Podcast channel on Twitch, I'm sure you do, check out the Go Mode Podcast itself. It's really fun to listen to. In fact, one of the hosts ended up winning the huge big tournament a couple weeks ago, Dante. So congratulations to him. Make sure you give the Go Mode Podcast a follow as well, and really enjoy yourself with Link to the Past Randomizer. Any last thoughts, Maddie?
No, thanks. Thanks to our tracker, WGarrison, Restreamer, John Snuu. Thanks to the runners and the mentors, and for you, WorldwideWimpy.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time here on the Go Mode Podcast for more Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021 here on Twitch.tv.